Hello, I'm Lee Bernick, Dean of the Greenspan College of Urban Affairs, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Urban Report. Today, we're going to continue to talk to some of the newer faculty members in our college, why they came to the university, what they're doing at the university, and what they hope to accomplish in the near future. So I want to welcome you to the Urban Report. Our first guest today is Jacqueline Cravens, and Jacqueline is in the department or the program in marriage and family therapy. You're from North Carolina.
Yep, North Carolina.
Went to undergraduate school at East Carolina, and then to Texas Tech.
Undergrad and master's at East Carolina, so I was a pirate for a long time.
Okay.
And then Texas Tech.
And then Texas Tech Raider. And now
Red
you're going to be a
Raiders.
rebel.
Yep.
Okay, well that's good.
There's a consistent theme here.
Yeah, that's right.
Pirate, Raider, Rebel.
Okay. So why UNLV, why the marriage and family therapy program? Can you talk about that?
Well, I believe that what really attracted me to UNLV would be our faculty's research interest. So Dr. Hertline is actually looking at technology and relationships and the interplay of those two aspects. And my master's thesis and my dissertation both were on social networking sites and infidelity behaviors. So I felt like Dr. Hertline being one of the only marriage and family therapists in our field right now looking at technology and relationships, that would be a really strong mentor for me as I'm just starting my career. So I really was looking forward to the opportunity to get to work with her.
So as a young aspiring academic working with a established person in the field, and so you're coming here because of our faculty and the kinds of things that they can offer to other faculty as they come to the university. Well, that's always a nice thing. We always want to hear nice things about the faculty in our college. So you talked a little bit about the internet infidelity. So tell me a little bit about what you're interested in.
Sure. So my research trajectory right now is looking at social networking sites, specifically Facebook, because that's one of the more popular social networking sites that people are engaging with, and the interplay that has with relationships. So infidelity behaviors that people are using. My master's thesis was on motivational factors for using social networking sites, and my dissertation is currently on looking at relationship boundaries and rules and how couples establish those, whether or not they openly communicate and establish them, or if they are more undiscussed and not known until
So when you say
happens.
the couple, you mean a couple that are a couple in one place, and one of them may get on and interact on Facebook with other people, but the question is whether the couple that are together in one location are actually talking about their role or how they're using Facebook.
Yeah, so just like they might say, you know, I wouldn't want you to go out on a date with another person, that may be something we're more likely to talk about, but not how we're using the internet and what that might mean if somebody crosses a boundary that we've not discussed openly.
Okay. So you're talking about boundaries. What are the boundaries? What kind of boundaries do you?
So boundaries and rules, sometimes couples come in for therapy and they talk about knowing each other's passwords and having access to one another's online accounts. So that would be one boundary that they might have. I don't want you to have my password. This is private. It's my account. Other ones would be maybe friending, as they would say on Facebook, befriending an ex-partner, so someone that you may have dated in the past. To just who we're adding on Facebook, private messaging, those kind of boundaries.
And so is this a problem? I mean, are we finding real problems with technology?
I think so. I think that it has enhanced a lot of our social interactions in really great ways. I mean, even to the educational level, universities, online classes, we have a lot of benefits from technology, but with those benefits, I think we also have to caution how those impact our relationships as well. So I'm interested in both avenues, the benefits and then, you know, some of the consequences that may come from it.
Okay. So you're doing that kind of research, but you're here. What do you hope to get, or what do you hope to accomplish while you're here at UNLV?
I think I'm trying to get a strong sense of what it means to be a faculty member at a university, and moving beyond just the student side of our career. So maybe less worried about my clinical work right now and more about establishing teaching routines, going to faculty meetings, understanding all of the obligations that come from being in academics.
So what courses are you teaching in the fall?
I will be teaching MFT 150, the personal growth class. I'm really excited about teaching that course, and then I will also be doing the internship practicum with our third-year students.
Okay, and so the 150, that's for undergraduates, and have you taught a course like that before?
I have not, but what I think is really great about the 150 course is that it is on personal growth, and it highlights a lot about healthy relationship development, self-awareness, finding goals, managing stress, understanding our emotions, setting goals for ourselves for our career. And so that's a lot of what I do in my clinical work anyways, and so I'll have tons of information to pull from my career.
Okay, and how many students do you have in the class? Do you know?
It is going to be one of the learning community courses,
Okay.
so the cohort I believe is set at 35.
Okay, so relatively small. I think
Smaller
that class
class.
is sometimes has 100 or 150, but you're doing the learning communities, which I think it will be an interesting experience for you because the group are all together. They're taking several classes at the same time, in the sense of they're all taking your marriage and family course, they're taking public speaking together and everything. So that'll be good. So, you know, we want to talk about, you're doing the internship. What about next fall, next spring? Do you have any idea what you're teaching next spring?
Yep, next spring I will be doing 150 again, but it will not be with the learning communities. It will be 100 students. And then MFT 225, the multicultural diversity, and one of the practicums for our graduate program.
Okay. Well, I want to wish you good luck for this year and have a real success, and we'll have you back at the end of the year to see how things go. And
Wonderful.
I think we'll take a break right now and come back for our next set of guests. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
For others, it may have just been a summer job. But for me, it was training. Now I'm an Air Force pararescueman, and my job is to save lives. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Winston, just one more inning, Grandma.
Ever notice how many things today kids can do without actually moving? A whole lot of things their parents used to do the hard way. So many kids' activities today seem to leave out the activity part, which makes exercise even more important for children. In fact, new research tells us the best time to enhance bone development is during childhood and adolescence. And just getting children to walk an extra 35 minutes a day could spare them the pain of thinning bones later in life. Healthy bones come from healthy habits. Encourage your kids to get up, get out, and get moving.
Hello.
Hey, Grandma, how about another grape soda?
A public service message on building strong bones for kids from the Pediatric Orthopedic Society of North America and the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
I want to welcome you back to this edition of the Urban Report. In this edition, we have 2 people for you, and we've asked the 2 of them to come because they're doing related activities in our school social work. Our first guest is Margarita Jelinek. It's Jelinek, right?
Yes, it is.
And then Kevin Miyasato, right? And Margarita is director of the field education, and Kevin is the assistant director of field education for the School of Social Work. Margarita, you come here, you've been here for a couple of years, I think, but
Yes.
originally you were out in New York and working in New York and Connecticut.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, you were got your degree at Columbia, and then you worked in the New York City area and also in New Haven.
Yes.
And Kevin, you got your your undergraduate and master's from here, and have been involved in the local community. I'll come back and talk to Kevin a little bit about that experience. Tell us a little bit about what you did in New York and in New Haven for a few minutes, and then we'll get into what we're doing here.
Okay. I was in 2 areas in New York. I was the director of the Columbia Hospital Center Social Work Department. I also taught at Columbia for many years and ran their program in Westchester County. And at Yale, I was invited to be the director of their social work department at Yale New Haven Hospital. And so that really comprised most of my career: medicine, healthcare, and child welfare.
Well, great. That's a good thing. And Kevin, we met, and you reminded me, we met a couple of years ago. You were working for one of the community programs here in town. You want to talk a little bit about what you were doing there?
Yes.
And then.
I was with Community Counseling Center of Southern Nevada, a local nonprofit that deals with clients who are dealing with substance abuse issues or mental health issues.
Okay.
And I came to the school to advocate that we keep the School of Social Work open because how important it is to the population here in Southern Nevada.
Okay. And what brought you to the school? So you had a job, you were working at the community program, and Margarita, you came and you were in here in town, but what drew you to this new position that you have?
Well, I'm very committed to field work as part of social work education, because we deal with things like ethics and principles in our classroom, but it's interesting to me to implant those into organizations which have their own dynamics. And furthermore, Las Vegas is a very interesting city in which to see the needs for social work practice. And I think that a social work school can reach out into that community and express the university principles in the community. So that's what attracted me here.
Wow. Well, we're glad that you talked about that. I'm going to get back, but I'm glad that you talked about it because fundamentally in the College of Urban Affairs is about reaching out into the community, and we hope that the school does that, and the fact that you see that as a primary mission is really important. Kevin, what brought you to the school?
I believe in field work myself, being a product of UNLV and the social work program. The lessons of self-discovery that the field program produces is so important. And I think that the students need to be encouraged to get the most they can out of the field experience. And we have so many local agencies that are willing to help these students meet their goals, their educational goals.
So let me ask you a fundamental question. I mean, you're both working with the students out in the field. They have other people. But what's the single biggest takeaway that you would say to the students as they prepare for doing that field experience? What's the thing that if you said, okay, before you go out in the field, here's X that you need to know or you need to practice, or what would you say is the
synergy between the practice of social work and the intellectually, and then its practice practically. And to be able to remain, can I say, aware of the conflicts that this presents, and to prevent from becoming reductionistic in trying to keep your focus about what social work is about. And that's what I would expect them to do.
Okay. Now, I'm going to harass you just a second here, okay? And you used the big word here, reductionist.
Yes.
Okay? So and I don't mean to be pejorative to the public, but, you know, different people may take that. What is it that you're really saying when you say?
Well, in other words, I think that social work is a complex set of ideas and practices. And I think one must remain aware of that in practice. And so that's what I would like the students to do, to keep aware of the conflicts and the complexities of the human condition in a variety of circumstances.
Okay, yeah. There are not simple answers, and it's
Exactly.
very complex.
Exactly.
Okay. And Kevin, we only have a short time, but you talked about the real learning experience and how, I mean, when you went through the program, what was the thing that you came away, what was you said, gee, what was the wow moment in your field experience?
I think that it's one way of learning in the book. It's another way of actually going out and starting to practice it. And my reactions to all that was really important to me. It was a period of intense self-growth. And that's what I want to impart on the students that I work with.
The intense self-analysis and looking
self-reflection and getting to know who you are and the reactions that you have with the problems that you see out in the community.
Okay. And they'll see a lot of problems, right? I mean,
It's a very interesting community.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And do we have an idea about, you're going to be working with probably over 100 students in the next, this year, I think?
I think they said 198. Now, I don't know how many of those are in field, but
Right.
a substantial number of them.
A substantial number. Well, we have to stop. We'll have you back, and you can give us an idea about how your year went. But I want to wish you good luck.
Thank you.
And I know you'll be successful. You've done these things before, and we again will look forward to the fact that you're representing the university and the college. Okay.
Indeed.
Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
And we're going to take another break in this edition of the Urban Report.
If you could see anything in the world, what would it be?
I'd love to see Paris. I like to see cupcakes falling from the sky.
My daughter, married and happy.
I want to see things the way I used to.
Chances are, someone you love may one day be affected by macular degeneration or glaucoma. Log on to seeabettertomorrow.org or call 1-800-437-2423 to learn about glaucoma and macular degeneration. Call 1-800-437-2423 or log on to seeabettertomorrow.org.
I just want to see more of the things I love.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults, and one person dies from melanoma every hour. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Something's not right.
My first symptoms were
constant tingling in my toes.
My legs, sometimes they'll go numb.
Double vision. They said you have multiple sclerosis.
Well, the beginning is the hardest time.
Kind of had to get a grasp on reality.
I had to adapt and change very rapidly.
I had to learn how to drive with my hands. Yeah, that was interesting.
I was a dancer. I don't see walking the way I walk any different than doing a dance. It just looks different. It's a different dance.
You see me have an off day, it doesn't take away from who I am.
A symptom may cause you not to be able to do that anymore. And at one point, I wasn't able to do any of those.
But I would exercise every day.
Since I've been cycling, it's definitely helped my walking.
To make a lot of changes in my life and just adapt to it.
I'm going to acknowledge its presence. I'm not going to discount it. But at the same time, I'm going to try my best to not let it stop me.
It's a fantastic opportunity to be working together with a common goal of curing MS, and sharing is the key.
Hello. Hello, I want to welcome you again to this edition of the Urban Report, and our next guest is a member of the School of Environmental and Public Affairs, Jasmine Liddell. Jasmine, welcome to the Urban Report. Let me, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. It's not going to be the first time a dean has been corrected. But you started out in California. You grew up in California. Then you went to East to school at Brown.
Yes.
And then from Brown you went to Oxford. Got your PhD at Oxford.
Yes.
Spent some time in Africa and did a number of other things. And you worked at Oxfam,
yes,
which is a nonprofit agency. And I want to talk about that in a few minutes. And then from there, you were over at Brandeis, I think.
Yes.
Spent a year. Was it a year at
Brandeis? 2 years,
actually. 2 years at
actually.
Brandeis. And then we enticed you to come to UNLV.
Yes.
And Jasmine is an interesting person because Jasmine is going to cross disciplines. You're going to be talking to and working with students in environmental studies, and you have a background that relates to environmental studies, but you're also doing nonprofit management and other public affairs kinds of courses.
Right.
So let me first ask, how'd you get to Oxford? And then from Oxford over to Oxfam, okay?
Yeah, so I was at Oxford. I was lucky enough to receive a Rhodes Scholarship. And so I did my PhD in social policy. And my focus was on South African social policy. So looking at path dependence for different programs, social policy programs. Specifically, I was focusing on a child grant and what that looked like during apartheid and after apartheid. So after I completed my PhD, I came back to the United States. I did a postdoc at Wellesley and explored some of the same questions. And then I said, look, I'm going to put down that hat and I want to get my hands dirty. And I want to see how you can take that research and that scholarship and actually get it down to the field. So we had the opportunity at Oxfam. I took the position of research director for the U.S. regional office. So one of the things that allowed me to do was to take the international experience and apply it to domestic context. And our funding was focused on post-Katrina recovery.
Okay, so let me just interject here for a second, and we're going to talk about the post-Katrina, but I think this is an interesting and an important thing. Again, you're a faculty member that's interested in doing research and then trying to integrate that research into the community to make a difference in the community.
Absolutely.
Another kind of key hallmark for our college. I have to put a plug in for the faculty and what we try to do in terms of how we try to impact the community.
Absolutely.
And so you were doing work, as I remember your job talk, you were doing work on the interaction between two minority groups, right? The Hispanic community in New Orleans and the African American community, and how they looked at issues of rebuilding New Orleans.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Absolutely, and the tool that we used to analyze that was public opinion polls. So I'm really eager to get into. There's some great centers of public opinion polling here at the university, and that was one of the things that attracted me.
Okay.
Is that I could use that methodology again.
All right. Well, that's good. So you talk about that. So you came because of somewhat of the resources here at the university. Were there other things that attracted you to UNLV? I mean,
I grew up in Orange County, and I've been a Running Rebels fan for years.
Okay.
So to be here and have access to tickets and games is very attractive.
Well, we're not going to deny the Running Rebel background. It is one of the key things about our university, and just as a parenthetical, our student athletes are quite successful both on the court and off the court in terms of educational attainment.
Great to hear.
So let's talk a little bit about, you're going to be teaching two courses this fall. One is the environmental studies course. Tell us a little bit about that.
The course is called Environment and Development. I'm really excited about teaching that. I taught a similar course at Brandeis, and it was with a graduate community that was majority international. So I'll be teaching it here, a 200 level course, so with undergraduates. So it'll be a slightly different population, but the same enthusiasm and passion that I have for the topic will come through.
Okay, and what's the main issue that you want to convey when you teach these new undergraduates or impressionable undergraduates about about economic and environmental development.
Yeah, what I'm particularly passionate about is the connections between environment and development. So what happens when we pollute? What happens to waste? Sort of how do international treaties, how do international organizations, nonprofits, and funders like Oxfam, how do they interact with take what we understand about the environment and how do we interact with developing countries, and what do developing countries and developed countries have to learn from each other, and how do they harm each other? So what does the world look like? What are those interconnections, and sort of how can we interact, and how can we change those things? So, and how can we make a difference?
How can we be change agents in
Exactly.
terms of the environment
Yeah.
and the relationship between the third world and the more developed countries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I know we just have a few seconds here. Let me just say, you're going to be teaching a graduate course in nonprofit management.
Yes.
We'll have to come back and talk about that, but that's one of the areas, and your
We'd love
experience
to.
with Oxfam should be a valuable lesson there, and you'll be working with students who want to be involved and who are, again, at the graduate level.
Yeah, super excited, yeah.
Well, I hope you have a really great experience. We're excited about having another young assistant professor here in the college, and how you can make a difference in the community. So I want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for watching this edition of the Urban Report. And once again, anytime you have some ideas or comments about the Urban Report, please let us know by emailing us at the university at the Greenspan College of Urban Affairs. Thank you for watching the Urban Report.